Hello everyone, welcome back to another stream. Today we'll be going through, of course, our wildcard team. Good to see everyone in chat already. Quite an important one. I suppose we haven't started this year. So great so far. I'm actually going to close this and we're going to speak over a blank screen for now. Basically, I wanted to kind of show maybe my previous iterations of a wildcard draft and show you what's changed rather than just showing you what I have currently, which we will get into. I won't hold you for too long because I know a lot of people like to jump in and out of chat. So within 10 minutes I'll probably show you, but I wanted to kind of discuss my previous one first. Good to see you, Anish. What's for breakfast, says Roger McSweeney. Not yet, we're fasting. I got the black coffee in. So okay, this is one thing I need to address and I need you to help me. I keep saying the filler M, and I know if you've seen my previous video you've probably heard it, and I mean I can't speak. I promise you I can speak. I just done it again. But basically, what I want you to do is if I say the word M, I want you to put it in chat, and that way it will be like a trigger for me, and then I'll figure it out. But now I'm so subconscious of it, but that's a good thing. Adam O'Brien in chat, oi oi. I suck. Catherine Scott says good morning, come on you Spurs, and a super chat from Adil Ifran as usual, £2. Come on you Spurs, prediction for the United Spurs game, much love bro. So I'm actually going over to the United Spurs game. I'm absolutely buzzing for it. And Live Sneaker says, here we go, come on you Gunners. What is my prediction for that game? I think we will win. I'm going over to the game. Ross is also going over to the game, and I'm going over with United fans, so it's going to be an interesting watch, and there'll be no celebrating. But it'll be an interesting game for sure. Oliver says, love the intro music, and people are saying happy birthday to me, but today is not my birthday, so I'm quite confused. But thank you everyone that's wishing me happy birthday, not on my birthday. Today must be a special day. Okay, I'm going to bring up my first draft that I posted on YouTube, and we're just going to go through it real quick. Great to see everyone in chat, by the way. Come on you Spurs, W. Love the music, Shy. Hey Shay, why are you so late? Annabelle, a lot of these main content creators, they go live at 9 o'clock, and, you know, they are the big dogs, I consider them. So it's not hard for the smaller content creators to do it, but 2 hours is a lot of dedication, especially so early on. Basically, what I like to do is I actually like to tune in, say good morning to all of them, see what they're saying, check their teams. If I've missed any news, gives me an opportunity to make sure I'm kind of sure for my own stream. Again, I don't need it, but I do like to make my black coffee and tune into a stream for about 15-20 minutes before I go live. Happy wildcard birthday. So, okay, this is my last draft on a wildcard. And by the way, when I was editing this video, I am a lazy, or I just don't realize things. But as you can see, Gabriel is the icon for Saliba, and João Pedro is behind that head of Solanke. I don't know how I ended up doing that. So this is the draft. Why do I keep saying M? So annoying. I looked it up basically, and that M trigger is a filler word, as you know. But it's when you're trying to fill empty space with a noise. So I just see everyone spamming it in chat, but it is for a reason, and it's not because I can't speak. It's just when you're sitting in front of the camera, in front of people, you know, sometimes you get, sometimes you stutter. So anyway, as you can see, Ederson, I'll just read it out for anyone that's just listening. Ederson, Trent, Saliba, Pedro Porro, Saka, Rogers, Semenyo, Mbeumo, Diaz, Solanke, Haaland, and Lewis on the bench. It's a really good draft, right? Don't get me wrong. My issue with this draft is if I got confirmation that Lewis is going to be starting this week. Let me be candid. Okay, so Pedro Porro would have to be benched this week if I wanted to start Lewis. And I didn't feel comfortable doing that because you can't be benching a 5.5 million premium asset most weeks. I think most weeks you'd want to start Lewis over a Pedro Porro anyway. So I kind of decided, alright, I don't really like that. I was looking at Diaz as well. Now, as the time has gone on and I've slept on it, I really want Diaz back. To anyone that's just joined, Diaz is out in my draft. This is just one from 2 days ago when I made a video on it. And don't get me wrong, I think Diaz is an amazing pick. But Diaz is an amazing pick. But I think I fancy... Okay, let me change that deadline. I fancy someone else who is more sure on minutes for 90 minutes. I think Diaz is still probably a small bit of a rotation risk. And he only gets 70 to 75 minutes a game. So I fancy a more nailed 90-minute man. And we'll get into who that is. Yeah, I'm going to change that timer for you right now. I apologise. How long until the deadline? 1 hour 23. That's the 83 minutes. Okay, sweet. Thank you for letting us know. Just embrace the choice as Lyle back. Yeah, we could. Fix the timer and give us a heart attack. Yeah, apologies. So as I was saying, again, I really like this team. It's just, you can't be benching a premium asset like that every week. I'm fairly nailed on the Ederson, Saliba, Trent back three. It's just who's going to be the fourth, and I do think it is going to be Lewis. The only thing that could change that is what we get before the deadline. Again, what's important this deadline is, of course, Newcastle City is the early kickoff. And I assume we will get confirmation on who's going to be playing for City. And I think if I got Savio or Foden news, I would be quite tempted to go there. But again, this is last week's team. Let me show you what I've cooked up last night, and I haven't changed for a while now. Where is it? By the way, if you're wondering why I'm looking right, it's because I have a monitor on my right, and I can see things much better. Choi, thoughts on Son? You know, don't get me wrong, Son is a great option, but I think it looks like he's going to be injured. I don't think players recover from a little strain in the hamstring so quick. Okay, so here's the team. I really, really like it. Let me know what you think. I'll leave it sit with you for a second. I'll read out who's playing. Ederson, Lewis, Trent, Gabriel, Semenyo, Mbeumo, Rogers, Saka, Solanke, Haaland, Havertz, and Mikalenko up top. Or Mikalenko on the bench. Imagine Mikalenko's up top. This is a draft. I really like it. I think the player that I'm missing is maybe a Diaz, of course, but I've sacrificed Diaz for Havertz, if you look at it in that vein. Why I prefer this draft is, again, I have 1.3 million in the bank. I waited for the price rises last night, and the drops. Unfortunately, Eze didn't drop, and Semenyo did indeed go up in price. I think Havertz could do some serious damage in these next 3 fixtures. They're very, very good for him. A few questions in chat on triple captain Haaland. Not for me this week against Newcastle away. Don't really make sense. Again, I would just be happier to still keep it for a double later down the line. No, I didn't say Son is not starting. I would say there's a high chance he doesn't start, in my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. It's just like when people come off with hamstring injuries, you know, he's a bit older now. I think they'll want to wrap him in, how do they say it? A cotton blanket. Again, it is a big game against United, but an injury is an injury, and regardless of who you're playing, I don't know, we'll see. I've not heard anything inside. Usually I hear something, but nothing in particular. I know Ange said he wanted to train today. How much do you have in the bank? So, I have exactly 1.3 in the bank to do Semenyo up to an Eze. And that will be my predicament before the deadline. Whether I go with a Semenyo with Southampton and Leicester away next week, or if I upgrade him this week to Eze, who is Everton away and Liverpool next week. But it sets me up later down the line. So I'm unsure what I want to do. And alternatively, I could somehow knock down one of the City defenders and go up to a Savio if he's starting. Ange said it was just a knock. Yeah, it was, but again, I seen him kind of not clutch at his hamstring, but you know, he definitely wasn't fully fit after a shot that he took and Solanke scored the rebounder. Clutch's dad says, my team value is 102, which is ridiculous. This team is way better than. I don't know if you mean my team is better than yours or your team is better than mine, but they're all a bit similar anyway, so I can't imagine there's much difference between the two. My team value is currently about 100.7. I wish it was a bit higher, to be honest. I missed one of the days because I just wasn't keeping track. I was quite busy. And I didn't catch the price rise, but it is what it is. Believe Hype says, wait, what? Chai, we didn't sign up for this. What is this utter woke nonsense? Why do you have Haaland? Yeah, so, again, I always said that we were always trying to get the most points here. We weren't trying to be different for the sake of it. And I think I've come to the decision that Salah can't go ban for ban with Haaland on a weekly basis. You're going to get burned too many times. I needed wildcard. If I looked at my old team, I had Isaac, who looks like he could be a doubt. I had João Pedro, who's not going to play, I think. I had, who else did I have? I had Son, who's also a doubt. And I had no Arsenal, so it was necessary, I think. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Yeah, no, I have fallen, what can I say? But new season, new Choi. I don't know if you're here at the end of last season, but we did have Haaland towards the end. People will say that's where I kind of started to downfall, but again, we still finished top 2000. A big green for me this week, by the way, considering how poor we were doing last week. Quite happy with it. You know Salah will mega bang now that you haven't captured him. Okay, let me bring up a graphic real quick. I think it's this one. Yeah, so Rob T, by the way, if you're not following him, do yourself a favour and go follow him. Absolutely amazing account. He's always posting really good graphics. But essentially, since the bug that's went around in Wolves, the illness, Liverpool have been bumped up for the most projected goals this week, which is never a good sign when you're going Liverpool-less. Again, I do think getting rid of Diaz at 70, 75 minutes is the better decision compared to the likes of an Eze or even a Savinho. I don't know if we'll go there though. But yeah, Liverpool projects to get 2.65 and Arsenal projects to get 2.60. Of course, we're tripled up on the Arsenal boys, which is always great. City 2.20, which the big blonde fella could definitely bang. I won't be surprised at all. Newcastle look fairly rough. Foden or Savio? If I had the money, for sure Foden. I think it's only a matter of time where Foden will start being nailed. What if Liverpool players catch the bug while playing against the Wolves boys? Imagine. Am I satisfied with no Liverpool attack? Absolutely not. Question is, are you captaining the robot? Yes. When do we get City leaks? I want to say we'll get one between 20 to 11 and quarter to. Whether we'll get the Lewis one between that time, probably not. They'll probably leave that until maybe 5 to. Sharif says, I'm going no Saka of Salah instead. What do you think? Yeah, no, I really do still like the Salah and Haaland drafts. For me though, on wildcard, I think I had to pick between either of the two. I think two of them stretched my team a bit much for me. Good to see Adam Sousa. Kittle says, morning show. I hate the lack of decent 7 to 9 million mids this season. Bruno and Eze projected a drop too. Yeah, Kittle, that is why I brought in Kai Havertz. This is the exact reason I brought in Kai Havertz, to be honest. I was just a bit unsure on some of the mids, and the 5 million to 6 million seem a bit better. What I would say though is, I think we'll start seeing a few of that bracket mids starting to prevail. I think Eze, Madison, Bruno, they're starting to find a bit of form, even though they're not returning crazy levels. So I do think they'll have their place, and especially Foden. I know he's 9.3, but they will make a return. Munir says Saka will play 45 minutes. Well, he could do, but everyone has got Saka, so don't really make a difference, to be honest. Kieran James says, yo Chai, how are you doing, man? I'm all good. Very happy. I love streaming on a Saturday. It's great. And I'm going over to the United game versus Spurs away. My first away game, actually. I've been to quite a few home games, but never to a away game, so I'm looking forward to it. Saka Foden later. Yeah, so I really like that down the line. I think in game week 9 it is. That is when City play Southampton, so it could look quite good. How much you got in the bank, Chai? I've got 1.3 million. Let me bring back up the wildcard team. So there's the wildcard team. Again, just to clarify, Mikalenko, he should play. Dibbling, he's a young midfielder for Southampton. He's after returning quite well last week. He got 11 pointer. He's just there because he's probably the best 4.5 option. And I could potentially play him in game week 8 versus Leicester. Other than that though, maybe not ideal. But let me show you my team value. Here's my team value for anyone wondering. It's nothing crazy. Again, I wish it was higher. I just didn't catch the rises because I was quite busy. One day it just slipped my mind. Why is everyone overlooking Watkins, says Nick Zero. I don't know if they're overlooking Watkins, to be honest. I think a lot of people that own him and are not on wildcard are keeping him. But I don't think a lot of people had Watkins in the first place. Anyone that is on wildcard, why are they not going Watkins? Because a lot of people are going Haaland. And when you get Haaland, it completely destroys going with many other premiums other than Saka. Or Salah, of course. And then you have to pick between the both of them. So it's just a matter of balancing the premiums, I suppose. And I would almost consider Watkins a premium, especially when you consider there's no other strikers around that price range other than Havertz. So that is probably the lack of Watkins. Again, I think Watkins is a good option though. Okay, I'm still doing it, man. He's a good option, but I prefer the ones here for a few reasons. You know, Havertz and Solanke are both cheaper. Havertz has by far better fixtures than Watkins in the short term, and Arsenal are a team who I think will project higher goals against the lesser teams compared to Villa. I still consider Arsenal probably one of the best attacks in the league, even though they've not performed to the heights that we've seen in previous seasons this season. Or compared to last season, should I say. Is that your team locked in? I don't know about locked in. Again, we will get some City news. How that changes my mind, I'm unsure. And yes, do I go Semenyo or Eze? That is my predicament. I don't think either of them are bad, but again, if I go Eze, then it saves me a transfer down the line. And I do quite like that. Make sure you click that wildcard button. Anyone that is on wildcard, by the way. Let's do a little poll while we're here. I'm just going to say... How do I do this? Let's do, are you on wildcard? I assume... I'm going to say about 60% are on wildcard. Good morning, Aditya. By the way, do me a favor, hit that like button while you're there. I'm just putting up a poll real quick. Alright, sweet. Start with Smith Rowe or Rodgers. If you have the funds, I'd go Smith Rowe, but I do think if you got Rodgers for 5.0 million, it doesn't make sense to get rid of him. Hi Joy, can you do the score predictions? Yeah, of course. We'll do that in about 10 or 15 minutes, if that's cool. Hi Joy, Konate or Porro? Porro, man. If you have the funds, again, Porro. Cheers everyone that just hit that like button. 70 votes already, cool. Hold Diaz or get Madison in place of him. I'd hold Diaz for the time being. It is a bit early for Madison for me. Don't get me wrong, he's done quite well in the last few games he's played, but again, I want to see a bit more. He's playing really well though, don't get me wrong. Do you think getting Luis Diaz to get Watkins is cheeky? Yes, I do. Basically, when I made this first draft, I know I keep bringing it up. I didn't look at any content creators. I was on Twitter and I didn't look at any teams. Because this genuinely came from the heart, alright? And I looked after I made that video and I was like, I have the most template draft ever other than Ederson, Saliba and probably Solanke. That midfield is the same. So I kind of spent a bit more time tinkering with my team and saying to myself, like, how could I differentiate myself in a way where I think is probably better? So I spent a bit more time on it and then we landed on this. And I do think I like it a bit better. It is a bit different compared to a lot of the other drafts. I know we still have the same four midfielders, but Havertz instead of Diaz could be a big swing. Especially when I think, like, I could get Jamie and Diaz could get 70 minutes this game and the next game he could potentially be benched. Again, it is probably unlikely, but I don't really like how Arne Slot is also speaking about Diaz. What is this poll on? How can I see? 66% on WILDCARD. Cool, thanks for joining me and seeing my team. What do you think of my team? I want you to be critical because, you know, who's to say I have a better team than anyone? You mightn't like this at all, but why don't you like it? Yo, brother, thoughts on Dibbling? Yeah, Dibbling is currently on the bench. It could be an exciting one. Is he going to have a Palmer season for Southampton? I don't think so, but he might do something. So I want to know your thoughts on Bowen and Pickford. Bowen is one I really am interested in. I like the idea of Bowen. My only issue with it is West Ham suck. And again, sorry if you're a West Ham fan, but I've not been impressed. I would have thought this season with all the signings, the new manager, it would have been like a breath of fresh air. But Bowen comes out and speaks in these press conferences and his head is down and, you know, he doesn't seem elevated. So I don't think it's a better Bowen this season than we've seen in previous iterations of him. So I suppose time will tell. Maybe there will be a point in the season where West Ham go on a good fixture run, and I might want someone like Bowen. If I were to get a asset from that team, it probably would be Bowen or Somerville. What about CP10, says Nick Zero. Again, I don't mind Palmer. It's just how are you getting him in? You probably have to sacrifice both a Solanke and a Havertz for a Wood and DCL. You probably upgrade a Rodgers or Semenyo up to a Palmer, but then you have a front line which isn't great, I don't think. I prefer these kind of more mid to premium strikers compared to one singular Palmer. But yeah, I don't mind it at all. What I'd say is, down the line, do you see Palmer as a captaincy option? That is when I would consider bringing him in. And if you see a few weeks where you captain him, for sure bring him in. Wood or Rodgers? Yeah, so a lot of people this week are in a predicament where they have to start one of Rodgers or Wood. What I'd say to that is, whichever one you're going to bench, the other one will probably score. So it is what it is. Who would I pick in that situation? I think I'd pick Rodgers. I just think he's on such good form. He's playing really well and he finally returned. That'll be a confidence booster for him. And Ipswich is a lovely fixture. Kittle says, I think your defence is pretty rough. Again, I want you to be critical so I can maybe explain my point and where I think the team is actually quite strong. I think your defence is quite rough. I'd much prefer Flecken, Sells and a more premium defender. Yeah, so for me, Lewis has the opportunity to be how do I say it? Game breaking. I don't know if that's the right term because he's not going to be nailed. But if I got 3 out of 4 starts in the next 4, I think he's the opportunity to go. Like, there's no ceiling for how many points he can get. He's so attacking, and he plays for the best team in the league. He's 4.7 million. And it's a team where we get leaks every single weekend. They play 3 o'clock in the next 4 games after today. And 3 o'clock kickoffs are quite close to the deadline on a Saturday. So I do very much like the idea of going Lewis and playing Mikalenko on the odd week. And why I like Mikalenko is, okay, he comes in at a price of around 4.3, which is the cheapest out of anyone, to be honest, that plays for a decent team. But Everton and Sean Dyche are always a side that, against anyone, we've seen them come up with clean sheets. So I'm not saying Everton are fixture proof here. Don't take that in the wrong kind, but I'm saying that I won't be surprised to see an odd clean sheet against a decent side when you have the likes of Mikalenko when I have to call upon him. I would agree it is a bit weak defensively though. Saying that, we have 3 premiums and Lewis, so I don't know, Kittle. 70% on wildcard, good stuff. Who are your predicaments? How much in the bank, Chai? 1.3. 1.3 in the bank, and that's enough to do Semenyo up to Eze. And that is what I have to decide on. Alright, let's do another poll. 70% on wildcard, good stuff. I'm just doing another poll. 2 seconds. I'm unsure on this one. So Eze or Semenyo? I am leaning towards Eze, but I don't think that I have an issue with going Semenyo either. The next 2 are very good. The accent though. Soam says, morning Chai, good to see you, Soam. Can you do Lewis to Guardiola? Oh my god, I just realised I've exactly 1.3 to upgrade Lewis to Guardiola. Again, it means keeping Semenyo through his rough fixture patch though, which I don't love. Like, if I start with Semenyo, Eze will drop in price tomorrow. And I can just wait until after the Leicester game, and then Eze will be even 0.1 cheaper. 2 seconds. Man, my nose in the morning. Diaz could be the next Suarez. Don't at me. The next Suarez. Suarez is top 5 strikers we've seen in the Premier League. So I don't know if Diaz can quite match Suarez, but let's see if you're right. Are you fine with that Liverpool cover? No, I'm not fine with it, but I think we get carried away when we're on wildcard. We love immediate returns, and I can completely understand that. You're right to be in that sort of mindset. But for me, like, you need to look long term on wildcard because we're using it in game week 6. It's about 12 or 13 game weeks until we can next wildcard. That's when the next window is, and whether or not you'd even want to use your wildcard. I think it's important to look at the long term fixtures, and for me, City have them. Let me bring up their fixtures real quick. We'll go through them. Like, I look at these fixtures, and when do I get rid of the City boys? I could keep them through, through all of these, to be honest. Again, of course, Arsenal is out of the way, and they don't play them until the later half of the season. And for the most part, they play against middle half or below teams for the next few weeks. It doesn't make sense to go Diaz because he's the next good 2 fixtures and he's on fire, don't get me wrong, but Savinho could be lovely. And the long-term plan for me with Havertz is to get rid of him after Bournemouth. And maybe bring in a João Pedro if he's fit. Again, do hit that like button if you're going to be going anywhere near that poll. It kind of spreads us out there. And the more the merrier. Thank you for everyone that's joined us so far. So yeah, I do quite like holding on to the City boys for a while. Whereas the Arsenal boys, I won't want to be tripled up for too long. Again, I could be. They are fixture proof in terms of defence. By the way, I don't know if you watched the video that I made, but do you like the idea of going Saliba over Gabriel? You know, I think we get this narrative that Saliba can't head the ball and Gabriel is a monster. Don't get me wrong, he is. But I wouldn't be surprised if Saliba got a return now that people are more concentrated on Gabriel. Again, it's just food for thought. I could be completely wrong and wish I went Gabriel after this week, but also, if I were to compare who's more nailed, I would put Saliba slightly above Gabriel off the odd chance Calafiori plays left centre half. Again, it is probably never going to happen, but I've seen Gabriel bench before. Or I don't think he can bench Saliba if he's fit. Again, I'm speaking from Arteta's point of view. Guardiola is now 5.9, only 1.2 more than Lewis. That could be a shout, you know. Again, my issue with Guardiola is if Rico Lewis is playing, Lewis is more advanced than Guardiola. That's one thing. And also, he's 1.2 cheaper. So, if you look at it from that point of view, I think it's important. Let's see what we get from FPL Tony or FPL Main Road. Again, our moderator George popped in to say, well, you can let us know for sure. Thank you. Bro, you got Havertz for the short term. No, when I mean short term, okay, what I speak about is maybe the next 3 or 4. And I'm more than comfortable getting rid of him at some point to get some funds and upgrade maybe the weaker midfielders like a Rodgers. Again, I think it really depends. We can see a lot change. It's important to keep in mind, I have 3 free transfers going into game week 7. Whenever, I'm not sure if I think that's before the international break. And then after the international break, I will have 4 free transfers, which is absolutely massive. We know a lot can change in the international break, so I'm very comfortable, and I will feel comfortable going into that week. And that will be in a week where Arsenal play Liverpool at home. And I think I could just maybe get rid of Havertz. Again, no issue if you're keeping him. It's just maybe looking into the future a small bit and what I'm thinking currently. I hope you can understand that thought process though. What are you going to do when Foden starts banging? Says Appinator. I actually had Foden in my original draft. I seen he played a lot of minutes midweek and it kind of put me off, to be honest. But then I seen that De Bruyne was going to be out for a small bit longer. I am tempted by Foden and I do think he's a really good pick on WILDCARD. It's just now I've built this type of structure without him. And it's just, I think I prefer a lot more. And if I want a Foden, it kind of calls for going without Mbeumo, which I'm not quite comfortable with. People who wildcard and have 3 free transfers are using aim assist. What? Andrew Wilson says, why Ederson, Choi? He usually isn't considered an FPL asset. Yeah, no, I would say you're right. You are right. And it's not the type of move I'd usually make. Why I go Ederson? I genuinely feel like there's a gap in the market. Again, I put him in before I would say a lot of content creators did. And I know there's this stigma where we hate Ederson. And it's for a good reason. But I look at these fixtures again. And I think of Nail City assets. And I can't think of many. The first one that comes to mind, and he's probably the cheapest out of the defence, other than Lewis, is Ederson. I look at these fixtures and I think they have a good chance of getting some decent returns in this fixture run. And I just want to forget about him, to be honest. When I look at the likes of Flecken, I could set and forget him, but it's not quite appetising compared to an Ederson. Let me do a bit of tinkering. Let's see. 71% say go Semenyo, and I don't know if I love it. Quite interesting that. Thank you for voting. But I want to see. Alright, I need to get ready for potential scenarios. And again, we will answer some more of your questions in a second. I just want to go through a bit more of my own team so you can get some pointers for your own if you want to listen to me. Again, I won't be listening to me though. Alright, let's say in theory Foden is indeed fit. How do I get to Foden? Let's say we go Chris Wood maybe. We say Chris Wood in here. Let's say We could do Mbuemo straight up to a Foden. Yeah, I want to say, like, do I go Semenyo all the way up to Foden and try get funds elsewhere? Semenyo up to Foden and then Ederson down to Flecken, which is quite popular this week. Again, I don't love it. Flecken. Where are you, Flecken, man? There he is. And 0.5 million in the bank. I don't know what you think of that type of structure. Let me zoom in so you have a better... You can see a bit better. Keep Havertz and do Saka to Foden. Nah, I can't not do Foden, surely. Or not do Saka, sorry. Again, this is not my draft. This is just a what if Foden or Savinho is playing. I think this is quite good. Again, we go 3-4-3. Saka, Rodgers, Foden, Mbuemo, and to any of you that are saying I can't say the word tree, yes, you're right. I'm Irish. It is what it is. It's quite funny that, like, I think we're the only people that can't say the word tree. Tree. A lot of people on the YouTube comments take the piss out of me for that, but it is what it is. Phone Wood. Do I have to start Wood this week? Yes, I do. Do I have to play him next week? Yes, which is Chelsea away, which I don't love. Okay, alternatively, what could I do? Keep Ederson, hopefully. Let's see. Restore. Bump Wood back up to a Kai. Where are you, Kai? Okay. Any news on Lou start? Not yet. Do you speak Mandarin? I don't, unfortunately. I suck. Drop Foden back down to a Savinho. Savinho. Like Scottish people can't say purple burglar alarm. Interesting. I don't know how that works. I have the funds to do that. Now the only issue is I have triple, or I don't have triple. I have triple. Yeah, you have 4 City. So I would have to get rid of Ederson anyway, but I just downgrade Ederson to Flecken. That is correct. And we do 1.4 million. We just get the big man, don't we? Or can I even afford him? Yeah, I do. Perfect funds. Too many Arsenal players. Balls. Shit. Never mind. Again, this is just how it is though. 6.1 million on a centre half. Who is there? Dallo. I need to stop tinkering with my team. You know why? Because I spent all this time yesterday and I was quite happy on my team. But I do need to be ready for any scenario, which is a Savinho is a guarantee or Foden. It's good to keep in mind. Again, you should be doing the same with your own teams. Or if Lewis is benched, what you do. So, you know what though? This is going to be quite, how do I say it? Controversial, but I actually prefer, I think, if Lewis is benched this week. A lot of people won't bring him in on WILDCARD if he is benched. And that week, I'm more than happy playing Mikalenko this week against Crystal Palace at home. And I think next week Lewis will play then. And a lot more people won't have him. So I don't think it actually impacts me too much on whether or not Lewis is starting or not. Again, let me reset that. Just so I know what I'm doing. Anyway, we can take another look at that later. Let's go through some of the fixtures. A lot of questions in chat. Let me run through a few. Foden over McNeil? Absolutely. Havertz to Watkins? Nah, no chance. Ooh, actually, I could have done that with the Savinho draft, yeah. That would have been quite interesting. Hey, Chai, what do you suggest Solanke and Jackson in front of Dibbling in mid of Solanke / Jackson plus Wood for Semenyo in mid? You could do that, but I don't love Jackson for the long term. Again, I'm trying to look more long term. Good day from down under. Kepa as a 1 week punt. Why not? Go for it. Again, I don't love it though. It is Kepa. Let's go through some of the fixtures. But before we do that, I want to look at another graph. What we got here? We have a clean sheet. No, let's do matchups. Okay. Projected goal scorers from Rob T. Once again, the absolute GOAT. Haaland, no surprise, up top. That's why he's my captain. Salah and Evan Nielsen in third. So, Rob T said this was a change from his previous graph that he done 2 days ago. And Evan Nielsen is currently leading the line over Saka, Jota, Palmer, Mbeumo and Wood. Are we missing something? I don't quite know. Very good fixture though. And I wonder why Semenyo isn't a bit closer compared to an Evan Nielsen. Yes, I am shitting it without a Liverpool asset against Wolves, who currently have a lot of players sick apparently. But again, you can't have it all. And maybe it will be a big swing for those that are not on wildcard. Adam Bryan says no, Diaz is mental. Diaz doesn't even feature on this list. You know who does feature on this list? Kai Havertz. Makes you think. Makes you think. Start DCL or Rodgers? That's a tough one now. I think I would start DCL though. Start Oina or Mikalenko? I would start Oina, I think. Forest have really good underlying numbers. Everton still look a bit leaky. FPL Freddy, hello. Thomas W says any Raya news? Not currently. I don't think we're going to get any though. Other than the fact he wasn't in the hotel and he didn't train, which I think that's enough for me to be put off. Who's your favourite non-Forest defender for 4.5 million? It has to be Mikalenko. Choi, are you watching Gangs of London on Netflix? No, actually I'm not, but give me a review and I might. So yeah, I really like this graph, you know. Again, it is predicted. It doesn't always turn into tuition. Interesting to see Jota so high up with his minutes expected to be quite lower, and I assume this graph accounts for that, assuming Diaz is not here. Again, I just got rid of Jota. I do expect him to play, but I don't know. Anyway, enough of that. One more I wanted to speak about, and it explains why I'm so high on Pedro Porro. Again, I love Pedro Porro, and this is for good reason. Over the season, he's projected to get 10 goal involvements, which for a defender whose name is not Trent, is ridiculous. Is it risky going with 0 in the bank? A small bit, but if you have free transfers in the bank, no issue. Yeah, so Pedro Porro is ridiculously high, and for good reason. He takes so many shots. Spurs have looked good, lads. Call it biased. Spurs have looked good. We go into this United game, which is not great in terms of a defensive point of view. But for goals, the worst thing United could do is make it a basketball game for Spurs. I think that's where we kind of thrive at this point. How is Trippier on that list? That's a good point. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Am I out for Mbeumo? No, I don't love it. I don't love it at all. Madueke to Semenyo for a -4. Madueke to Semenyo for a -4. Nah, no chance. I would hold on to Semenyo or Madueke. Saliba, Diaz, Solanke, or Porro, Madison, and Havertz. Saliba, Diaz, Solanke, or Porro, Madison, Havertz. I think both of those options are great. It's very, very hard to pick between the both of them. I would say if you're a bit higher on Spurs, go the latter, but I don't see either of those two options going wrong. Why are you always sick, Chai? I'm not always sick. It's just in the morning I'm always bunged up. I think it's an Asian thing in dry weather. Of course, I live in Ireland, so my body has to acclimatise in a different way compared to your traditional Irish man. So I assume that's what it is. I hate picking Haaland as captain, but being burned this season, yeah, no. Same with me, it is a bit boring. But again, I want the most points. Anyway, so, as we were saying, let me go through some of the fixtures this week and see how I'm feeling on them. I always try to predict the fixtures. It's a bit of fun. Why not? What do I have open back here? No, wrong one. Okay, let's go through this real quick. Let's start with this lot first, of course. Troy, were you on a Snecta? I don't know what a Snecta is. Is this some joke? So, Newcastle City. Man, Newcastle have been ass this season so far. They have been. Let's not sugarcoat it. They've been so bad. Of course, they got a result out of Spurs, but they're still ass. I can see a 3-0 in this for City. I know it's away at St James's Park, but City just look a different animal. Arsenal versus Leicester. I can see this 4-0 Arsenal. Brentford West Ham. I think it'll actually be closer than we think. 2-all. Schnockta. Sorry, you spelt it wrong. Schnockta is snow in Irish, for anyone wondering. Adam O'Brien is asking me if I was on the bag. No, Adam, I wasn't. Chelsea Brighton. 1-all. That's going to be a good game, by the way. Everton Crystal Palace, another good game. 2-all. Forest Fulham. 0-0. You heard it here first. 0-0. Wolves Liverpool. I'm going to say 2-0 Liverpool. Be sure to let me know in chat what you think for these fixtures. I think it's going to be 3-1 Villa Ipswich. Spurs United, which I'm going to on Sunday. I know I keep saying it, but for anyone that's just joined us, now you know. I do firmly think that Spurs can get a result out of this game. I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs. Close game though. Bournemouth Southampton. 3-0 Bournemouth. So that's what I think this week. I love doing it every week. It's good to see how wrong I am every single week. Alright, let's do a scroll on Twitter in a second. Let's see if we're missing anything. Oh, I don't have the right page. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Where am I? Let me pop a chewing gum, see if it opens up my nasal cavities. Troy, you better sing your heart out at the game. I would love to, but I can't because I am, unfortunately, in the home end. I'm going with 3 United fans. Unfortunately. But yeah, otherwise I would. Spiros locked in on the wildcard. Salah, Havertz, Smith Rowe, Haaland in game week 8. No Haaland again. Crazy. Double Spurs defense. What is going on with this model? I'm not even going to do it. My Thai guy says, should I keep Raya or sell? But first off, I'm not Thai, but again, it's just a bit of ignorance from you. But should I keep or sell Raya? I would sell him. Actually, if I had him and I wasn't wildcarding, I'd just hold on to him. Never back to early kickoff, says Gandhi. Absolutely. Gandhi has a point. Bench Torres or Rico Lewis? I do expect us to get a bit of Rico Lewis news, so I would be starting Lewis. You need to get mental lozenge to clear. Yeah, maybe that could be a play. It doesn't look like we've missed out on Twitter just yet. Ray spotted with the squad says, Rookuf, do I believe that? Or is this just your Twitter account that I'll be looking at? FPL Reese 1. I don't know if I can trust anyone with FPL in their name when it comes to team news. If you get me. Yeah, Vic is OP actually, now that you say it. Okay. We've not missed out on Twitter. Again, we will keep you posted. Here's the team. Again. I don't see any immediate changes, and usually my mind changes quickly. Now, I'm going to assume this is my team with the likes of a Savinho and Foden starting. I don't think I would change it regardless. Put in chat, are you locked in on your wildcard? I feel like I'm fairly comfortable now. I'm happy going with this. Again, when Lewis gets confirmed he's benched or something, it could change me, but I can't see it happening. But then again, I could go for Guardiola. FPL's hard, man. It's hard. I spent so much time on my wildcard over the last week. We're still not nailed. Yeah, Ian, no Liverpool attack. Again, it's not by choice. I wish I could fit someone in, but I prefer a Havertz compared to a Diaz. That's the thought process. I can't stretch the funds to a Salah, and Jota is just too much of a minute risk going forward. Ben Evans says, apparently Raya has been with the squad at breakfast, so my view is that why would he go if he's injured and he wasn't being played in the starting lineup? Ben, if you could amp me, that would be great. We'll give it a look. Why would he go for breakfast? I don't know. He's still with the team. I feel like he'll be at the game regardless of how fit he is. I like the Triple City. Their fixtures are great. Absolutely, Jacob. That's the plan long term. Jeff John says, how we doing, Choi? I'm doing great. Thank you for joining me on this Saturday. It's always good to do a stream on a Saturday. Again, if anyone follows me on Fantasy Football Scout and they watch that video with me and Gianni every Sunday, I don't know if it'll be going ahead this week. Again, I will be in London, so or I'll be in Manchester, sorry. So Andy said Raya is at the hotel on his live. Okay, that means we need to look at this. Andy is of course reliable. Let's give it a look. Trent or Saliba? I already have Gabriel. Trent, no brainer. Absolute no brainer. Let's see. Has anyone even reposted it? Oh, Andy usually gets some insider news. Lads, for me, like, regardless of whether Raya is fit or not, I want to go with Ederson and Kai Havertz. I feel like it would kind of differentiate me from the field. I actually genuinely, it doesn't bother me. Do you think Jota will start? No, I do think Jota will start. Whether he keeps starting over the next 5 or so, I don't know. Thoughts on Foden starting? If he starts, I think he's a great option. I would love him. It's my type of pick as well on wildcard. It's just something I'd do. Konsa or Aina? For this week, Konsa. In general, I think over the long term, maybe Aina. Try I'm stressing Raya and Jackson or Flecken and Havertz. Assuming you'd be going double Arsenal defence. Owen, Raya and Jackson's probably stronger for the next two. Thoughts on Nate and Ori? Yeah, probably one of the more attacking fullbacks in the league. I was just waiting for his fixtures to more so turn, but it's still a bit early. Ryan, we've already done the score predictions. You can go back and rewind to watch it if you want. Why double City defenders? They will play without Rodri. Yeah, you know what though? I kind of thought about this, and I was of the same mindset. Yeah, they're without Rodri, and they usually suck without Rodri. Owen, I'm Irish. Of course, I pronounced the name right. Yeah, so my thought process was like, Okay, so who's going to come in and fill that gap that Rodri plays? Initially, I went straight to John Stones. He's back fit now, and I think we've seen the year they won the Champions League, Stones was the best player on that pitch in that final. He can play that role, and once he's back fit, I'm not trying to say Stones can fill the gap of Rodri, but in my opinion, I think he'll play there. Another player that can play that position is Akanji, and he does it quite well. And he's played almost every game this season. So I wonder, is Akanji a option in terms of 5.5 million defenders for City? I think he's played every game this season. Let me check. I'm Filipino. What about you, bro? Owen, you're Filipino, man. That's crazy because you have a very, very Irish name. Again, I assume, obviously Asian people can have Irish names. I just mean like Owen is very, very Irish. Let me have a look. Akanji, has he played all season? Yeah, so he's played every game this season so far. 90 minutes in every single game. I think low-key Akanji, if you don't have the budget to go to a Guardiola, especially when he might step up in that CDM position, he might be a bit closer to the box. Again, I wouldn't bank on it. He probably might just play centre half, but always a possibility of a punt. Salah or Haaland captain? If I had Salah, I'd be going Salah captain. If you could afford Foden or Diaz, who would you go for? I would go for Foden. Way less EO. That's one. The second thing is, if Foden starts, I project him to get more minutes than probably Diaz. Minya says, any news on Son versus Man United? No, not in concrete. But I am not too hopeful of Son playing. Oh, okay. What I mean by that is I probably give him 75% chance in my head of starting. Still quite good, but I won't be surprised if he's not playing. Owen says, dad is Gaelic, mum is Filipino, but born and raised in London. I'm a bit of a mystery child. Interesting. Yeah, I was wondering where that name came from. I assumed you're Irish. Is Isaac injured? Man, I don't know what to believe out of that Eddie Howe's mouth. He could be, he could not be. He might be out of the squad, he might be starting and playing 90 minutes. If I were to guess, I would say he's likely injured. I feel like you wouldn't reiterate over a previous injury even after he played, so probably injured. Any news on Raya? Nothing through Twitter. Again, Andy might have said something different, but he gets inside information, so okay, let me bring up his tweet. And Andy is reliable, of course. Apparently Ray has been spotted at the hotel this morning, but I have no way to confirm. And there's apparently a video that I haven't seen. So as far as I'm concerned, it's still a doubt. And until we hear more or see. So that's good to keep in mind. Again, I'm not too pushed on Raya, but understand if you are. Where am I? Oh yeah, that's what that was. No, Salah's gonna hurt you. Yeah, probably. But I'd rather be on this side of the fence with Haaland, to be honest. Eze, Smith Rowe, and Wood. Pick any two. Eze and Wood. At Rico Lewis, or at FPL Shy, Rico Lewis in the starting 11. Says who, Cabs? If you could at me, be much appreciated. Almost 300 people in here. Be much appreciated if you can hit that like button. Thank you for joining me. Again, means a lot. Again, we try to make these streams much better on a weekly basis. This thing that I've added this week, what I try to do is every single week I try to add something that would be a benefit to the stream. This week, instead of the border on the background, I've made it a shadow. It just looks a bit more clean. And that way I can adjust whatever screen I'm using, and no matter what, it will fit the box. So last week we added the live chat, so it's actually updating in real time. So it's pretty cool. If you have any other things you'd like to see, let me know and we can try at them. Now chat is just spreading fake news. Is Paro a good pick on wildcard? Yes, he is, but I can't seem to stretch to him just yet. I don't think. George, have you seen any news? Be sure to let me know. George is my moderator, by the way, if anyone's wondering. I think of it like this. Max Flecken gets 2 points against West Ham. If Raya doesn't play, you lose out on a potential 2 points, which isn't bad. Yeah. Sushant, if you look at it that way, right? Why not go for Ederson, who is a max 6 points? You know what I mean? Like, why would you limit yourself? Do you think I can take out Jota for Lucho? Yes, you can, but that's a hefty price of, what, 8.1 million now? Ashwin says, like your stream, bro, the way you play FPL is entertaining. Not going for the obvious picks makes your style interesting and fun. Yeah, so a few people have coined me a bit template this week. But again, we're on wildcard and we're always going to try to pick the best players in our opinion. For me, I've gone a bit different with the premium front three. I think that's the best way to go. Again, it is a small bit different to the conventional wildcard this week. Chess Quickie says, can you do a wheel for Haaland or Salah captain? Oh, for only Haaland. Okay, sure. Let's do it. This is for Chess Quickies, who is actually a regular in here. What are we saying? Haaland or Salah? Alright, let's do it. Again, I don't advise picking your FPL players off a Wheel of Fortune, but for any of you that are unsure, there's your answer. There you go, Chess Quickies. I hope that is somewhat helpful. I can't imagine it is. Saka, my captain, says True Plug. I don't mind it, to be honest. They could bang up. My only issue with that is his minutes. He got subbed off early against City, 45 minutes, and then played 70 minutes midweek. I just wonder if he's carrying a little bit of a knock. Logan, thank you. He says, Raptor saying the Raya news is legit. Haven't seen anything credible on Twitter. Yeah, they do. Andy and Raptor, they do have, I think, fairly sure it's a similar source. So, but how much do you make of someone being with the squad going for breakfast this morning? I don't read into that too much. You know, I assume if you were part of that Arsenal front 11 on a continuous basis, you would be in and around the squad anyway. Because of the red card, he was subbed versus City, says Fruit Plug. That's a good point, but I would consider Saka a very good defensive winger. In a sense where he's very strong and he does a very good job of defending. Now, I know Martinelli done the exact same thing, but surely you keep your best player on the pitch when you're down to 10 men. Which, he's also a player that can do the job, so I don't know. Who would you start out? Rodgers and Wood? I would start Rodgers. This is what I mean, Roger McSweeney. Injured people eat breakfast too. That's my point. Again, maybe they know something I don't and they're covering it with the fact that he's eating breakfast, but I don't know. Lewis, Gundo and Guardiola start. Stephen, where are you hearing this? I need some backup. Alright, Stephen. You don't need to keep spamming it, bro. Same with you, Porto, man. I'll answer your question, but don't spam chat, please. Give everyone a chance. Do I have a poll open? Let me check. Lewis or Guardiola? Lewis for me. Would you pick Mazraoui or Colwill on wildcard? I think I would go Mazraoui, but I wouldn't be starting him every week. I think United's fixtures do turn. By the way, when I'm picking my team, right, I always look long term, especially on a wildcard. So how I kind of started doing it with this type of draft is later down the line, I actually knock down a Havertz to a Pedro or a Wood or whoever it is when they have decent fixtures. Get money to do one of these mids into a Bruno or a Garnacho or a Rashford, depending on who is starting consistently and getting good minutes. I do think there will be a point where a few people have United players. I know a few people are bringing in Bruno this week on Wildcard. Now that might sound crazy to the average person, but for me, I own Bruno and I know what Bruno's about. Whatever opinion you have, he is still a top bracket midfield pick for 8-ish million. Maddison or Bowen, I already have Solanke. I'll go Maddison. In your opinion, pick Foden or Son. I would go Foden if we get a leak that he's starting. Again, it really depends on if we do get that leak, but I think it's only a matter of time where we start seeing Foden get continuous minutes in the league. If Rico Lewis doesn't start, says ZJ, will you do a transfer or just start Mikalenko? I think I'm more than happy starting Mikalenko. Again, it's not optimal, but it will be something that a lot of people won't be doing, which is hold on to Rico Lewis if they get confirmation that he's not playing. And that way, we potentially have him. Again, it is potentially have him for Fulham, Wolves, Southampton. I think in particular, I want him for these two fixtures. I really, really do feel like he could pop off. And in a week where he plays Southampton at home, a lot of people will captain Haaland. It sounds silly, but I could genuinely see myself putting my armband on a Lewis if I get confirmation he's starting in game week 9. And I know you might say I'm crazy or I wouldn't pull through with something like that, but you've clearly not been in these streams long enough. Hoichai by Diaz or Watkins. For me, Diaz for 1 million less, or Watkins 90 minutes Ipswich 9 million. Probably Watkins. Again though, it really depends if you have any of that Liverpool midfield in general. Is on a nail for Forest? Yes, he is. A player that I actually really like outside FPL in terms of how good he is at football. I think he's a very good player. I wonder will a bigger team snatch him up at some point. Charlie says, start Harwood Bellis, Bournemouth or Nedeljkovic, Ipswich. I really like how you worded this question. Straight to the point. Start either of these two guys. And you've also included in brackets who they're playing, which makes it easy for the reader or streamer. And I would recommend, if you want to get your questions asked more on stream by like whether it's myself or some of the bigger guys like Harry, Raptor, Focal, Andy, whoever it is, or even FPL mate, it is much easier, and I think we're more inclined to read questions where it is easier for us to read. So Charlie, to answer your question, Harwood Bellis versus Bournemouth or Nedeljkovic versus Ipswich, I don't think Nedeljkovic would start. Again, what I would do, right, is I would go to FPL Villain. What can't I say his name? And I would see, I trust Villain. He's not always correct, but you know, he knows better than any non-Villa fan in my opinion. And he doesn't project him to start at all. So I would be inclined to start Harwood Bellis, who you know will play. Again, if you think or you have a feeling that Nedeljkovic is going to start, go for it. FPL Focal. Raya has been seen with the team. Interesting. Kai looking sharp. Start Rodgers or McNeil? Rodgers. So this is the post that people are talking about.
Best centre back in the world. Best centre back in the world. And the best car in the world. What's got a nice
That's him, right? I'm not tweaking, yeah? So, there is Raya. He's not wearing anything crazy that is of note. Let me see something. Is he wearing anything that the rest of the players aren't? He's wearing a pair of Dunks, I want to say. Adidas navy pants and a light blue t-shirt. Let's have a look. Everyone's got the same. So everyone has... Okay, they're all wearing different shoes. Good to point out. High quality streaming going on here. But yeah, Raya is seen with the squad. That is indeed Raya. Interesting. Live Sneaker says Raya is definitely starting. They just said he's injured to avoid the dark arts allegations. Saying he's injured does the opposite of doing the non-dark arts. Thank you, Shy. Just subscribe. No problem, man. Again, thank you for joining me. FPL detective, lol. Yeah. You gotta do what you gotta do. That's what we do in FPL. That's what makes us so good. We look at the intricacies in FPL rather than your normal Donnies. Studying man's movements. Yeah, it doesn't look like he's moving any different compared to the other ones either. Like, let me go back to this one more time. So, let's do a bit of analysis here. Everyone's walking, hands in the pockets. Casual hello to the fans, Kai Havertz. Water bottle in hand. Little strut. I don't know if I like that compared to the other boys who are... Look at this. Look at the movements from the other boys. Chatting away, hands in the pockets. Get to Rhea. And it's a water bottle in hand. Oh, fuck, I'm not going to be playing. No, make it out what you will. That's just... I'm just messing. Let me get back to my team. Some real analysis. Any news on Sun says... Albi. No, not on Sun yet. Little Limp says Roger McSweeney. I don't know about that, but... the dark allegations was him going down against City when not actually injured to waste time, saying he's injured midweek. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Multiple Rhea starts tweets. Yeah, do you make of him being with the squad a start? Maybe. Yeah, I think he is likely to start, let's be real. This is the season over because of the water bottle. Lewis the Stones, says Andrew. Nah, I don't think so, man. Seems like no City leak so far, says Luke, who is always bang on. Genuinely, this week's City defence is very hard to read. Lots of options. Stones, Akanji, invert to challenge. Joe Wellington headers in the mid. Rico invert to exploit space between Newcastle's lines. Bro, how do people say the name of the streamer wrong? Someone just said, Hoi Chan. Like, that's not even close, man. And if you're being blatantly racist, I mean, fair enough. That's a different story, though. If you're gonna call me Jackie Chan, at least say the full thing. You know what I mean? Why would you half pull through? Start Rogers or Smith Rowe? I would start either, but I would pick Rogers. Is Timber an option? Yes, but I would much prefer Saliba or Gabriel if you can stretch it. Rico or Consa Lewis, sorry if you already answered. This is the update on Lewis so far. We've got nothing. Consa, likely to start in my own opinion. Toast on Bruno. United have really good fixtures after game week 8. Man, I like Bruno. I probably will bring him back in. I can't get away from the pain. Saliba or Gabriel and why? Gabriel, I missed the 0.1 rise on Gabriel, so that's not the only reason I'm going for Saliba. I think it is easy to now pick Gabriel after his haul, and a lot of people will. They'll sheep towards Gabriel. I'm hoping that Premier League teams try to shut down Gabriel, maybe double up on him, leave a bit more space for Saliba. It's a good chance for me to create some variants. We never speak about creating variants. We always speak about being optimal. And sometimes being optimal and weighing that up against the variance you can create by being suboptimal is never talked about. So I think it's good to keep in mind where, you know, you can create variants. And people will coin it as luck. Again, it is luck because, I mean, it's football. This is football. Anything can happen, but For me, I have no issue going Saliba. Shuey FPL says City leakers will always post 5 minutes before the deadline as usual. Yeah, that's a good point. Ollie with the 27 sec super chat. Thank you, Ollie. I appreciate it. Konate and Ederson or Trent and Flecken. So first of all, how do I say your name? Is it Ollie? It doesn't have an I, so I still assume it is Ollie. Or is it Olle? Let me know. I don't know where you're from. Konate and Ederson or Trent and Flecken. I would do Trent and Flecken. Again, that is a really, really tough one. I think the upside for Trent is still too good though. Which Forest player, if you had to pick Choi, I would go Wood and Oina. Start Rodgers or Carvalho? I would start Rodgers. Jackson or Havertz for the minutes? Havertz, 90-minute man. Unless they're battering him, of course. Start 2, Calvert-Lewin, Wood, Rodgers. I would be starting... I think I'd have to start the 2 boys on penalties. I'll be starting Calvert-Lewin without a doubt. Wood or Rodgers is a coin flip. I lean towards Rodgers because I fancy the fixture. Is Robert an option? I already have Gabriel and no money for Trent. I don't love it. Robbo hasn't been as good this season. He is aging. He is still an option. Would I go there? Probably not. Start Raya? Yeah, if you own him, start Raya. Evan Nilsson or Wood? You know what? I'd actually like a punt on Evan Nilsson. Of course, I'm not going there, but... Hello, Chai. Is Robbo an option? I already have Gabriella and no money for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yes. Yes is the answer. Concert Lewis. I love the idea of Lewis, lads. I'm not going to lie. Based on the news you have, would you pick Son or Foden this week? Right now, I would pick Foden. 100%. What do you think about NDA? I don't think he's a bad option. I know a lot of people had him last week against Leicester, was it? And he returned. Not a bad option, but when I compare him to some of the other ones, like a Pedro when he's fit, Wood, Calvert-Lewin, those guys are better because they're on penalties. Start Solanke or Rodgers? What kind of question is this? If you're not starting Solanke this week, when are you ever going to play him? Ollie says, yeah mate, more like the latter. Not Ollie, but Ole. Okay, perfect. Cheers for the super chat. Thank you so much. Can you show me your bench? Apologies, sorry, I didn't know you couldn't see the bench. Ederson or Rhea? I'm on Ederson. I think I'm happy to go there. Saliba or Gabriel? Again, I would go Gabriel, but I'm happy to go with Saliba. Should I bench Wood, DCL or Rodgers? Again, same answer. Probably benching Wood. McNeil, Mavididi, Rodgers. If you had to pick 2, who would you go for? Currently without Rodgers. I think for 5.2, Rodgers is less of a comparison to when he was at 5 million. For those that got him at 5 million, he's a much better option, of course. In terms of if you didn't own him, I would just go McNeil, I think. But, well, actually, I would go McNeil and Rodgers. I don't know about Mavididi. Still a bit skeptical. Diaz or Foden? As a punt, Foden, for me. Start Colwell or Oina? This week, probably Oina. So, Champions Collide says, you're free... Why can't I speak? With your 3 free transfers, what chances are you planning on to make going forward? So, I would roll again next week. In game week 7. Game week 8, I would have 2 free transfers. And I would get rid of Semenyo. And bump him up to Eze. After... So there's 2 things. Eze will have dodged the Liverpool fixture. I have the exact amount of funds to do Semenyo and Eze. And also, Eze is not seeing a rise, he's actually seeing a drop. So by the time that fixture runs around, unless he scores a 50-pointer, Eze won't be rising anytime soon. Because I have 1.3 in the bank. Is Maddison good long term? I want to say yes. At that price point, just underneath 8 million, not bad. What I want to see though is the immersion of maybe a Brennan Johnson. I want to give him both more time and Maybe he becomes an option. The only thing I'd say about Madison, he's always one to be hooked between 70 and 85. Again, if you've no issue with that, no problem. Lewis or Ederson? Steady Eddie, because he's nailed, I guess. HI, are you making any changes before the deadline? It doesn't look like it. I'm quite happy with my team. Again, it could change if we get the likes of Ederson bench and Lewis on the bench. Of course I have to. Another video of Raya just dropped. Why don't you go with Luis Diaz? I have no agenda against Luis Diaz. I just think Semenyo as a punt, who's a 90-minute man, and then Buemo, who's a 90-minute man, Rodgers and Saka on penalties as well. Diaz, no penalties, 70 minutes, and he's probably overperformed in the last 5 weeks. I'm not saying he can't do it for this fixture and the next, but if we're being real, I can't see him keeping up this form. Konate is pick or Lewis. I prefer Lewis, man. The upside is just too high for me not to go in for him for 4.7 million. But you won't bring in Eze next week against Liverpool, or would you? No, I won't. I would keep Semenyo for Leicester. Now, alternatively, I can just start with Eze. It saves me doing a transfer. But I do think there might be some upside in Semenyo, and it might keep me a bit flexible down the line with that money in the bank. I can go elsewhere if need be. Best 4.5 million defender in your opinion? Probably Mikalenko. If not Mikalenko, Oina. Forest have really, really good underlying stats. And I think with a team like Forest and Nuno is your manager, you're always going to pick up clean sheets. He's a very defensive first minded manager. I think we've seen that in his time at Spurs, unfortunately. 320 people in here. Welcome to the stream, anyone that's just joined us. Here's the team. Be critical. Shoot down my team. I want to hear your opinions. It's an opinion-based game, and I want to see where you think I'm going wrong. By the way, we are going to the United game, and I'm also, I'm just going to say it, I'm going to be featuring on FPL Therapy on Monday. I'm really looking forward to that, man. For anyone that hasn't, check out that last episode with Chunks. It was actually a really good listen to. Chunks is so into FPL, man. It's so cool listening to people you grew up watching, giving so much time and energy to a game you love. Sofa says, really like the team, unsure on Lewis's minutes. Yeah, that's the only thing I think you could shoot it down for. Sell me Morgan Rogers. Morgan Rogers, really good underlying numbers for a 5 million asset. Villa, a really good team, probably top 5 in the league. Returned twice last week, unlucky not to return in, to be honest, nearly all 4 of these fixtures. Watkins done him dirty twice in this Arsenal fixture. Some decent numbers against Leicester and Everton. What's not to like for 5 million? Hi, try best 5 million forward. Stuart, I want to say, not great though. FPL Tony, Haaland starts. He made it. Andrew Wilson put it in before my moderator could. He's just too quick. What a surprise. I don't think this is any news though. This is what I needed. I needed this. Perfect. There you go. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Unbelievable. Cheers everyone in chat who let us know. It's crazy. I literally have someone waiting for the news, and it's crazy how like everyone in chat is so clued in. They put it in straight away. They didn't even give him a chance. So good. Sorry, moderator. Shout out Giorgio. Chai, please display your team. Here you go. Rico Lewis, this is massive. Massive, massive, massive.
Perfect. Perfect.
Brilliant. Okay. So, Haaland, Rico Lewis. That means everyone is probably going to be playing Ederson, Lewis, Haaland for me. I can't see a world in Saka, Havertz, Saliba don't play. Semenyo nailed and Buemo nailed. Rogers, I want to say, is nailed. Excellent. Run Carlos Run says, does Foden start? You know what? This is good that we got the Rico Lewis news and the Haaland news before we got any news on the likes of a Foden or Savinho. I'd be more tempted to go that way if that makes sense. Thoughts on Watkins, Shy? Watkins a good option, but I prefer a few others personally. Let me say thank you to Big Tony. These guys are underappreciated in the community. They do us work. Sure, Jeff. Get any City leaks? Yes, Haaland, Rico Lewis. FPL Pickle is locked in. Hello, Choice. Sell Smith Rowe for Semenyo only this game week. No. Can't see your bench, says Chica. Here's the bench. Best differential under 8 million. Semenyo, for sure. I don't think these guys are differentials anymore. Let's be real. Semenyo, Mbuemo, Rogers, Saka. Everyone got these guys. If you're asking for a real differential, I would say Madison. Shout out to Simply FPL, by the way. Good luck on therapy. Sure, it'll be good fun shooting it. Yeah, absolutely. It'll be cool to do something in person. Sam, by the way, I don't think I ever had the chance to actually speak about you, but you were one of the first streamers I watched religiously on FPL. Basically, it was the 2021 season, and we saw the last game of the season where that Burnley fullback got returned for us, and I got a top 5k finish, but that was largely from being included in your stream, so much appreciated. Again, I know you've been through a lot recently, but the fact you're doing well now, man, I love to see it. So thank you for joining us in this stream, man. Means a lot. And of course, Irish. Sir Solanke or Rogers, please, Chai. Solanke. Chai, Gabriel and Wood or Havertz and Mikolenko? Gabriel and Wood, unfortunately. I passed the torch to you. You know what, Sam? That's exactly what I thought of when I was texting you this morning. I was literally like, I literally held the candle for you. So let's see if I can, big footsteps to carry the torch in, but let's see if we can do it. Chica says I can't see it. Bro, you're so needy. Here's the team. I hope you can see that. Liam says, cheers bro, love the content. No worries at all. 2.5 minutes till the deadline. Get your teams locked in. And for those of you on WILDCARD, I can't stress to you enough, make sure you have that WILDCARD button clicked. The amount of people I see, and you don't have to be a casual to forget it. It happens to the best of us. Make sure you click that WILDCARD button. Simply FPL, the OG, absolutely. Dibbling and Greaves. Yeah, so Dibbling is a bit of a punt. 4.5 million, probably one of the better ones. Captain Saka or Haaland? Haaland for me. Alright, I'm just going to be scrolling through Twitter for the last 2 minutes. See if we can catch anything. Again, we'll all be vigorously clicking refresh. Who is this? I don't trust you. Good luck, everyone. Yeah, absolutely. We will stick around, of course, for maybe 15, 20 minutes. Try get the City team before we head off. DCL or Rodgers? I'd be inclined to start DCL. I think if you're going to play DCL, it is probably a week like this. You can bench Rodgers next week. Again, against United, I would say. How much do you have left in the bank? I have exactly 1.3. By the way, I didn't really go down to a decision, me starting Semenyo or going with Eze. I just don't think I fancy Eze for that Liverpool fixture. It could end up stinging me, but it is what it is. Let me refresh to make sure I'm locked in. Imagine I got caught out by not locking in my team. After saying all of that. Slanky or Jackson? Slanky all day. Last one, Choi. Palmer, Saka and Porro. Saliba and Palmer or Saka and Porro. You know what? Saliba and Palmer could be tasty. Yeah, doesn't look like we're going to get Atten just before the deadline. Again, unless I'm missing something crazy. Watch, 1 second after the deadline, Tony's gonna tweet. Who wants to bet? Who wants to bet? Yeah, so that's the deadline stream. Be sure to stick around here if you want to wait until team news. More than happy to host you guys. All the best, says Anon. Absolutely. For anyone that's heading off, be sure to hit that like button before you go. But I would love if you stayed for about 15 minutes longer. We can see the pain together. Actually, let me do a post on my team before we head off. Always crucial to get the timeline post up. What do I want to say? What is my rank? I'm currently 2.6. How do I say that? 2.6. Yeah. Put a globe emoji. Why not? I wish I was 2.6 in the world. Let me put a big fat M so people know. At one point on planet Earth, I was 2 second in the world. Those are the days, man. 1.3 in the bank. Semenyo to Eze. Game week 8, is it? 6 he plays Southampton, 7 he plays Leicester, 8 he plays Arsenal. Let me put game week 8 first. Yeah, before, is there anything I can do to improve the streams while the deadline is over now, so we don't have to talk solely FPL? I'm always trying to improve. If you have any advice, be sure to stick it in. And you want to see better graphics, maybe you think the graphics are shite, that's fine, we can make them better. That's what it's about, improving. Happy overall. Let's see some teams below. So generic, but I genuinely do scroll through a lot of the teams. So it's not clickbait, I promise. I always try to reply to as many people as possible. I like seeing, because football is so subjective, you know, where people's minds are at, or because people follow different people, they always get different opinions. Oh, that's the wrong arrow, man. Simply FPL says, I got 36k subs with no graphics. Don't worry about it, just be sound. Okay, absolutely. I was actually looking at that. Let's bring up your channel real quick. Again, sorry if I'm... Sam, I don't know if you're ever making a return to FPL. I would love if you were. But yeah, I was looking at your channel. Like, you have 50 videos. I have about exactly the same. And man, you have 40k subs or 35k subs. Again, I'm very, very happy with where I am. I just mean, like, how the have you done that? Like, it's insane. I like a bench list with that FPL mate does. Yeah, no, that's a shout. I think what I'm missing in terms of actual content for the channel is, when I do videos, my actual token is fairly shite. I'm still not very good at sitting in front of a camera for videos because it's a bit different. Like, when I do a stream, I have time to kind of settle into the stream, get a bit comfortable answering questions. And when you guys are answering questions, it's like a one-to-one, well, one to whoever many in here, 200, 300. So it's a bit easier. Where in terms of a video, I'm not talking to anyone. I'm talking at a screen or at a camera. So I do tend to use a lot of filler words like as you noticed in my last video, is a bit of a problem. It doesn't happen in the streams because, you know, it's like a conversation. But yeah, in general, I think I could probably use a bit better language, or maybe some better data. I know a lot of people love data. It's just, I struggle to to use it because, again, I'm more of a grass manager. But, again, it is always good to back up your opinions with data. We can look at that. The deadline is over. Doesn't fit in the box. Okay, that would be a good start. You're right. How do you catch price rises? My team's sub 100 million. So how you do it is when you're on wildcard, right? You want to click the wildcard as early as possible, ideally, and bring in a lot of the players who are likely to rise. I myself this week, how the algorithm works for price rises is if you're on wildcard, it actually doesn't affect the price rises going up. So I didn't click my wildcard button until yesterday. And what I done is I brought in a lot of the players that I thought would rise, like a Diaz, a Semenyo, Havertz. And you need 0.2 million to make up the 0.1 actual team value. Unfortunately, I missed one of the days of the price rises, so I didn't catch as much value as I wanted. But yeah, if you're not on wildcard, I wouldn't worry about your transfer value too much. Realistically, 0.5 million is probably the most that's going to bite you. You're never going to be 1 million off a player, I don't think, realistically. Of course, over the course of the season, you might be, but again, not too important at the start of the season. I appreciate your interactions. Thank you. Simply FPL says, loads got deleted for copyright music, so don't worry about that. Okay. That makes more sense. I was wondering, I was like, you absolutely killed it for under 50 videos. Are you still in Limerick, says Roger McSweeney. No, I'm not. I'm currently back home. I'm back studying down south. Which pod are you going on this week? FPL Therapy on Monday, recording with Ross. We're also both going to the game, which is pretty cool. I'm sure we'll have a nice little discussion when Spurs beat United on Monday. Andy says, could be worth getting other people on Wichita to fill in a bit if you need a minute or two. Yeah, that's a good shout. I had Fran on the other day. The issue with that is, I'm affiliated with Fantasy Football Scout. Shout out Fantasy Football Scout, of course. But, when you want to bring on other people in the community, they have a different affiliation, for example, Fantasy Football Hub, and it can clash a bit, so that's the only reason we don't get more people on. Of course, we can get Gianni on. I tried to get him on, but unfortunately, I was quite busy when I tried and it didn't end up working, but we'll get there. You'll become more natural as experience grows. Yeah, absolutely. I still have to account for a lot of my videos being live streams. I have, about 10 actual videos, so we'll get there. It's just, you need to trust the process, lads. Again, I'm still a bit inexperienced, so I'm not too worried. Subcategories in the videos, expert versus inexperienced. Yeah, we could do like expert videos and average or casual managers, I suppose. But it's a thing that a lot of the big guys have nailed down already, and I don't think I could get anywhere near to the level they could do. And I hear it's a lot of work from speaking to the likes of Oscar, who is renowned for doing that. It's difficult. It's a lot of work. By the way, little update on my final year project. For anyone that's new joining us, I am currently in my last year of my computer science, and I'm doing a final year project on fantasy football. It's actually quite funny how it ended up happening. I have a very, very smart lecturer called, actually I won't say his name just in case, but he is helping me, and he actually plays FPL. How it came across for him is he doesn't know anything about football, which I actually think is quite interesting, and it will work quite well when I'm working partnered with a data analyst and a model creator. That's what he specializes in college. He's a lecturer. So it'll be interesting because I'll have biased opinions, and the idea of a model when you're making one is you take all the data and you have absolutely no biases towards it. So we're going to be working together for a few months, trying to make a project for FPL, improving tools, whether that's coding, whether that's making nice GUIs on a website. I don't know if you have any things you want to suggest, but we'll be basically aiming towards making a model or some sort of tool that will improve fantasy football users' experiences. I think it's more so aimed at the casual users. For someone that's not played FPL, like for example my mum, or mam as we call it here in Ireland, and it will give them an idea on how to play the game. There might be a section where it's like, alright, this is what you need to know. You have 15 players, 100 million, and here's a robot for you to do it for you, and this is why we've picked these players. before we continue speaking about that, Sam says, Kerry, right? I lived in Cahersiveen for 2 years when I was 18. I'm from Waterford, Sam. So a bit more down south. But yeah. Why are people saying happy birthday to me? I don't understand. I like to look at your teammates. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, but as I was saying, is your mom single? Unfortunately not. Yeah, so I'll be looking to make some sort of model or using data. So it's going to be interesting for me, who's not the most analytic-based manager. Again, I watch so many matches. My favorite analyst in terms of when we speak about the big dogs in data analytics or maybe journalists, my favorite is John McKenzie, the guy with the glasses on, the Athletic. Why I like him so much is he watches so many games. He watches them back. He watches them back in 1.5 speed, and he actually uses a cursor to watch the matches. And he said he actually doesn't use data too much. He uses the data to back up what he sees in the actual matches and see if there's any correlation between the numbers and the matches. Now, I know we're sounding quite nerdy here, and it's just football. Again, I love watching football. But that's the type of manager I am, and it does have its place in FPL. I know we give a lot of grass managers flack, and I am one of them. And we've seen analytics do quite well last year, but I feel like you do get the best of both worlds when you combine them. And that's how you become a good manager, based on some of your eye picks on picks that always have also have good data behind them. So that's my little spiel on data versus grass and my little project. Again, if you have any suggestions before, be sure to shoot me a DM, and I'm more than happy to take it on board. FPL Fran has this cheat sheet series that the bigger content creators cannot match, in my opinion. Yeah, no, I absolutely love Fran's cheat sheet thing. I think it's great. It gives you a different perspective, and it's almost like a tier list, except he does it in a different way, a different format, with the green, yellow, and the red, and I really like it. That's the thing though, coming up with something original for your own channel. You know, I can't just copy Fran's cheat sheet because it's good. Can't copy Focal's expert analysis because it's good. I'll need to come up with something innovative that I could use for my own channel. How about your nan? Is she single? Not quite. She's not. Tifo podcast was the best thing about football analytics and being fun at the same time. Yeah, absolutely. Tifo were also very, very good. I often tune into the Spurs Athletic one. I think it's Jack who does it. So yeah, like it gives you another perspective. It's easy for me to hear and waffle and see things in the community. But when you listen to these, you know, there's a big debate on what or who you consider an expert. For me, if you're getting paid to do your job and analyze games, I would coin you as an expert regardless of how good you are or what your opinions are. If you've been in the journalist game or you've been analysing football for a while, you know, if you're not an expert, who is an expert? I don't consider myself an expert. Again, we throw that word around a lot. But I would say I'm fairly informed and clued in on what's going on in terms of FPL. The broader scale of football, I'll always have my biases, but I don't have an issue with that. I love Spurs, and if it makes FPL funner picking Tottenham players, then I'll do it. Like, if I think there's a combination of being able to get some points and supporting my own team and bringing a bit more enjoyment to the game, I have no issue with it. Gary says, I watch matches back sped up too. Gives you a different insight into a team's movement and tendencies as a team. Yeah, I feel like when you watch a match back, you know, we're very in the moment when we watch a match. When you watch it back, you're looking and you're trying to see patterns. You're trying to see a few things. You're trying to see patterns of play. You're trying to see shape. And a big thing for me is pressing triggers. Before every single game for the big teams that press, they go out with a trigger. Essentially, a trigger is if X gets the ball, then we run at him at full speed, or we don't. For example, let's just say you have Thiago playing for Liverpool. You know, Thiago is anti-press, so he mightn't be the trigger to press. That's just an example. And when you see patterns of play being built up in, let's just take Spurs for example, You can see what they're trying to do regardless of if the FPL players have returned or not, which is always the first thing where people that mightn't have watched the game pick up and talk about. It's like, oh, he didn't return the last 4. For me, it's more about, let's just take Solanke as an example. He's in and around the 6-yard box. The ball's being whipped into him. When he gets the ball, he's being fouled. That's picking up some bonus points. He's getting 80 to 90 minutes, and the areas on the pitch are great. And when you do that for 11 players, which, for example, I'll bring up my own team for anyone that's just missed it, you know, I feel like it gives me an edge. Again, I'm not a better manager than any that are in the chat, but for me, I feel like that's how I like to play the game, and that's always how I have. So you don't have to watch the games back, but it's definitely helpful. Maybe a series where the analytic guys are wrong. No, I can't just shoot down analytic guys, because over the long term they'll be right, and that series wouldn't quite do well. That's the thing with analytics. Over a spell of 38 weeks, they'll always outweigh anyone that can guess. Over a short term, they might be wrong, but not for long. Never wrong for long, those analytics. That's the best way to put it. Anish says, Choyer, the best thing is your armory is your 6th sense to go with unusual picks, which kind of work most times. Probably you should talk about the interesting picks every week and why. That's a good point, and it's definitely something I could do. The only thing with those are, like, people don't like someone like me just saying people are a good pick. And a lot of my picks might be through feeling, or, like, for example, Jesus is a player I picked last season. And I think, as a player, Jesus is amazing, and he got riddled with injuries last season. But I do think he would have been very, very good if he had got a bit more game time without the injuries. He's a prime example of a pick that I like. A starting number 9 for Arsenal, who I deem as a good option. Again, he's not your out-and-out striker, but against those lower half teams or with good fixtures, he'll always return. And it's hard for me to try advertise a pick like Jesus. I suppose this season he's not starting, but that's just an example from last season. The lineups are out. Apologies if I can't answer all your questions. The last one before we move on to the lineup. What county are you from? I'm from County Waterford. It's a little city down south. A lovely place. But yeah, let me look up the city team. Thanks for all the questions, by the way. I know there's still about 200 in chat. Let's go through the team news. I'm seeing no Isaac in the squad. There you go. So, no Foden, no Savinho. Wow. What do we think of this chat? So, Ederson, Rico Lewis, and Haaland in for me. Lovely. Interesting to see Grealish getting the start over a Doku and a Foden. It's cool to see Gundogan get a bit more nailed this season. I wonder, will we see another season where his role is a bit different, like we've seen towards the end of before he left City, where he actually becomes an FPL option. Alright, so Rico Lewis playing left back instead of Walker. What does this tell me? This is actually quite interesting, and I could be completely wrong here. It's just going to be my opinion. Rico Lewis playing left back means he will play higher up the pitch, and they will probably make they'll probably stick a Kanji in midfield playing CD. Oh, Guardiola's playing left back. Sorry, I didn't see that. That means it's a midfield of Lewis and Kovacic. Lewis out wide to go between the lines. Akanji will drop into midfield, I think. Guardiola, Lewis, Walker, Akanji, Diaz. Kovacic, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, Grealish, Haaland. They're playing like 9 midfielders. What am I seeing? Yeah, Rico Lewis midfield. But I do think Akanji will have a little place going forward. I have a feeling. Again, I could be completely wrong. It's going to be interesting how this plays out. So Pep's solution to no Rodri is to play 7 midfielders. Interesting. Let's take a look at the Newcastle team. I'm hearing shouts of Gordon in the number 9, which could be interesting for any people that have held on to double Newcastle. Troy, in a moment of weakness, I free hit. Is my season over? Still early days, man. I wouldn't say your season's over just because of that. Gordon number 9, wow. Is it Gordon number 9? Tonali in midfield with Joe Ellington. What formation are they playing? 4-3-3? Nate says, bro, you're getting drunk. Am I getting drunk? No. I have a flight early tomorrow, so no chance. Gordon in the number 9, it looks it, yeah. Barnes off left. Who's playing right? Murphy, Jacob Murphy. No Isaac at all in the squad. We'll probably see Almiron come on 65th minute. Absolute goat of FPL, by the way. I don't know if you're on that bandwagon. Yeah, no Foden is surprising. I think that's unfortunate for anyone that didn't go there. What do I make of that? I don't know what to make of that. Foden again, we're in game week 6 and he's not started one game. Something unusual going on. I wonder, is he carrying something? I know he did get sick, but unless he got some crazy illness from COVID or something, like, I can't imagine, unless he has a knock, why he isn't playing. Especially with De Bruyne out now. What team do you support, Joe? I support Tottenham. I've been support Tottenham for a while now as well. Yeah, come on you Spurs, we're going to the match tomorrow. That's some midfield, yeah. It is. City will be going for some control in this game. Score predictions for the City game. 3-0 City. Newcastle haven't looked great this season. I want to see... What do I want to see? I want to see who brought in Raya. Did Harry go with Raya? Let's see. Harry's also on wildcard. That's why yeah, he did. Interesting. So Raya's in for Harry. Did Oscar bring in Raya? Am I crazy for Captain Palmer? No. Could work out for you. Oscar does indeed have Raya. Does Raptor have Raya? I don't know if he's not on wildcard, but I just wonder if he had him in his team anyway. Henderson. Ross, you poor bastard. Give it a rest, mate. Why didn't you activate that button, man? He was actually getting on to me for bringing in Haaland when I'm going on this podcast. Score prediction for Spurs United, 2-1 Spurs. Okay, there's the team. Another great stream. Thank you to the 200 that are in here. Something I got told, actually. This is another thing I need to add to the streams, but from what I hear, you can never hear the end of my stream. It's always cut off by me clicking end stream. So what I'm going to do is play the intro part again, just so you can see the outro. So thank you to all of you that have joined me. Be sure to hit that like button before you all flock out. Best of luck this game week. Hopefully on wildcard we can see a big green arrow, and hopefully Diaz doesn't kill us too much. Haaland is in the team and he's our captain. I mean, first time I own Haaland this season. This will be the week. It would be typical if he stopped scoring. But it is what it is. At least I'll be on this side of the fence. And wish me luck at the Spurs game tomorrow. Come on, you Spurs. And check out FPL Therapy on Monday. And I will see you in the next.